Going into 10th grade this year, I had high hopes. In-person learning had returned, which for me meant it was time to get popular. After months of making changes to my style, social media habits, and social skills, the goal was finally met, popularity. But I felt empty. It was a Friday night on November 26th when I realized the emptiness was because I failed to keep the everlasting before the temporary. Charles Spurgeon said, "Nothing teaches us about the preciousness of the Creator as much as when we learn the emptiness of everything else." Jonah 2:8 states, "Those who cling to worthless idols turn away from God's love for them." Idols can take many shapes and forms. Identity, money, jobs, physical appearance, followers, and popularity are examples of idols we worship. How have you shaped your idols? Or in Jonah's words, what worthless things are you clinging to? Maybe it's celebrities, Snapchat, or the latest YouTuber, video game, or podcast. Or maybe it's relying too heavily on the words of friends over the words of God. Focusing too much on these things, as Jonah mentions, is a sin. But wait, the world encourages and applauds sin. Media and peers have encouraged addictive materials and applauded sinful actions, like ignoring those MA Netflix ratings or the abusing of social media. After all, we're mature. We can handle it. My generation is growing up in a world where anyone with an opinion has a microphone via social media. Riding home from church one Sunday, I realized that I had been on real stages all of my life, from musicals to leading worship. My mom reminded me of an interview I had when applying to middle school. When asked, "What is one thing you would change about your current school?" Without hesitation, I answered, "Better stage lighting." This past semester, I found myself pulling away from many youth events and church activities. I didn't know why, but I knew I needed to decipher who I was and what I truly stood for, with or without the stage and the status. Had those been worthless idols? If anything causes us to place God anywhere except first in our lives, we should remove and destroy it. 2 Chronicles 15 through 16 tells us that King Asa over Judah not only removed his false idols, he smashed them. Did I need to start smashing stuff? There's a solution to sin. Avoid temptation. But how? Did Jesus avoid temptation? The first three Gospels say no. He could have made Satan disappear. And do you think he doesn't know the perfect poetical placement for every curse word? He's all powerful, so he could have taken him down in a fight, which is probably what I would have done. But instead of removing the tempter, he overcame temptation through Scripture. So when temptation crosses your path, smash it with the fail-proof tools God has blessed you with. His words. Matthew 25:34 says, "Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away." When we study and meditate on the words of God, the emptiness of chasing idols will be replaced with gratitude and security. My freshman year, I found the Worship Music Club. Of the 40-plus clubs at my school, this one was not advertised, but God knew what I needed. We studied lyrics and scripture. It's a time to refuel with other believers throughout the day. It also helped me gain the encouragement to lead 4 friends to Christ. This year reminded me, it will never be about my status. It's always about God's status. I want to use His tools for His glory. So why say no to so many church events and leadership roles? Singer and songwriter Anthony Evans recently shared a story about his sister that shed some light. He says, "Priscilla is the master of saying no. Not in a bad way. It just means that she prioritizes her yeses. When she says no, she knows that her voice in that scenario can be replaced, while her voice at her son's basketball game, for example, cannot be replaced. A lot of us choose to go where the bigger thing is, when really the most influential space is one where your voice cannot be replaced. I was a master of saying yes. When we can't say no, God can, whether it's to temptation or too many yeses. I needed to focus on my status with Jesus so that no matter the stage or the status, I could focus on my relationship with Jesus. Like every other idol in this world, popularity has a shelf life. A close relationship with God has no expiration date and brings fullness, joy, and peace for eternity. My new goal? To share the everlasting Father in this temporary space.